something on for you guys that because is the average person ever going to hop on a horse and charge into a crowd control? Of course not. So we've been working on something. I think you'll enjoy the demo, and we've tried to relay it to regular horsemanship just as good as we can. Are we all set? Well, hello again, everybody. My name is Michael Harbison, and everybody here that you see in the arena is here on behalf of the Sacramento Mounted Police Association. We're a nonprofit organization that has one goal or one common interest in mind, and that is keeping horses in law enforcement. Now, on your programs, you notice it says Sacramento Mounted Police. Well, yes, two of us in here are Sacramento Mounted Police officers. Our job is patrolling downtown on horseback, but also, since we are a nonprofit organization that we're here on behalf of that raises money to ensure that we're keeping these horses on the street, we've also brought along a couple of citizens who help out with our nonprofit. And that's kind of half of our demo here, is taking the law enforcement side of horses and trying to apply it to just normal horsemanship, because there is a lot of unusual things that we do that probably is not applicable to everybody. Now, can everybody hear me okay? Am I talking loud enough? All right, excellent. Hey, any given time, if I'm not, give me the old thumbs down and I'll adjust. Now, a little bit more about the Sacramento Mounted Police Association. We recently got our nonprofit status, and some of the things that we do, I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but I'd love you to come visit our booth. Bad budget times, as you can imagine, what's the first thing that a municipal police department is going to cut? The horses. But a beautiful, beautiful thing happened this year. Not only did we raise a lot of money, we were able to donate a horse this year, retire one out, donate one to the police department, also buy lots of protective equipment. We also got out into the community. We're working with the Children's Receiving Home for some outreach, and just a whole other slew of things. But the fantastic thing that happened this year, guys, is Occupy Sacramento, Occupy Oakland, Occupy Stockton. So thank you so much for bringing protests to Sacramento, because as you probably saw on the news, we did one heck of a job. You may have saw those beautiful, beautiful Belgians from the CHP that were teamed up with us, and we sent them home in good fashion. So excellent. Well, let's start with some introductions. All the way on my far left, your right, is Skylar Baldock, a full-time police officer with Sacramento City and the president of our nonprofit organization. Skylar's been doing this for quite a few years, and a little bit about what he's doing over there is he's doing his groundwork. You're going to see, as we build towards the crowd control, you're going to see little by little our training. What you're looking at here is before we get a horse on the street, this is our training grounds. So to put a horse in the middle of J Street in traffic, running down a car and telling that car to pull over to the side, this is all we do. And this is a scaled down version. Of course, we add in sometimes flares, a couple other obstacles, but this is essentially it. Now, Skylar's horse. He got this horse about 6 or 7 months ago from the Shiloh Foundation. He's a PMU rescue. He's about 11 years old, give or take a year. I could be off on that. When Skylar and I went and looked at this horse, here's what we looked for. Size. We're not the smallest people in the world. Myself, who's a lighter fellow for a police officer, with all of my equipment, I could weigh upwards of 220 pounds. So we look at a horse and we say, okay, definitely this horse is big enough for us. Other things we're looking for. How explosive is he when something spooks him? So we kind of roll the ball at him and we go, well, yeah, he ran away from it, but he didn't buck, flip over, and try to get out of the round pen. And we rode him and we said, you know what, he can't side pass as well as we like. He can't turn on the fore, he can't turn on the hind, but he's not explosive. So that's how we picked him. Now, Shiloh Foundation is in Auburn, California, and I believe somewhere here wonderful horse. He has turned out to be fantastic. Well, let's move on. This is Jeffrey the horse, and Tanya. Tanya is helps out with our nonprofit. She's not a police officer. She's studying to become a registered vet tech. Has been a horsewoman for many years. I helped her pick out Jeff, and the reason we brought Jeff today is for our presentation to show you the worst case scenario that I have found. First day that we got Jeff, Tanya says he's the most fantastic thing. My heart is very warm. I'm going on what I like to call an urban trail ride on the streets. I'm in the living room and I hear off in the distance, what the heck is going on? It's her voice. I go outside and I see her on her bum, kind of getting up and limping, and I don't see a horse around, but I see way off in the distance dust. And we said, well, Jeff probably ran home. What happened was a sprinkler went off. Jeff went one way, Tanya went the other way. We got in a pickup truck, drove to where we purchased him from, and there he was sitting at the gate, wanting to get back into what he thinks is his home. After that, I said, Tanya, let me show you how it's done. Got on that. 2 broken ribs later. And yes, I'm not exaggerating. 2, how many nose jobs are we at, 2? Twice she has had to have facial reconstruction of her nose. So that's why we brought him here today. So we're going to talk about how we get a worst case scenario through this. So yes, it does work. Now, Skylar the horse. Skylar the human, Skylar the horse. Oh my gosh, we're going to have some difficulty. So each time I refer to him, this is Skylar the horse, not Skylar the human. But Skylar and her rider Allison, who's also a veterinary technician. What's the best way to describe Skylar? Show pony. And I have seen him in his shows. He's absolutely fantastic. The reason we brought him is he is a guy. When I started to associate with Allie for about a year ago, he's not good on the trails. He's not good on the trails. Last month, you may have saw in the news, one of the horses at our barn passed away. Went on lockdown, just in case it was something contagious. It ended up just being natural causes. The horse was older, and then we needed some horses to work. Allie says, try mine out. Really rapidly put him through the test, and we went onto the street with no problem whatsoever. So we've got the horse that kind of started later in life in police work. We've got the worst case scenario. We've got the arena princess, who is Purdy. And then we have Hank, who I got about 2 years ago. Tanya found Hank. He was donated to me from Penryn Oak Stables. He has basically spent his life doing everything. He's been in jumping shows. They put him into dressage. Western pleasure shows. He's been purchased and returned by 1 million people, but his life focused around Penryn Oak Stables. When I got Hank, I had been on many lesson horses and was very frustrated, and when I got on Hank, I said, this is the most fantastic horse in the world. So what I got in my mind was a refined, 100% ready-to-go horse. Day number 1, when I went onto the streets, we found a problem. He doesn't like to be away from the other horses. I had to go away from the group because it was a parade. The parade started. We went through the parade. There was drums. There was bagpipes. There was screaming people. Just that kind of like situation where you go, gosh, my horse is... I hope he does well in this. He did fantastic. I said, hey guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go around that building and use the restroom. Bye-bye. When I got out of sight of the other horses, I have never side passed so quick, because as I'm trying to say, where are you going, horse? We're going sideways all the way back to the group, and then boom, we're there, and I said, uh-oh, I found the weakness, separation anxiety. So let's come back to that. Ladies, why don't you hit the obstacles? And what we're going to do is we're going to send the ladies off here and watch Hank's separation anxiety as the other horses go off. And I don't tell him to go anywhere. He's going to follow. It's all work in progress. So what we're doing now is a training day at the Sacramento Police Department. Like I said, I'm here on behalf of the Mounted Association, but I've got inside knowledge, so we're going to relay to you what we do at the police department. How many of you guys would be comfortable, and I'm going to pose it in a question, and this recently happened because of these Occupy folks. Standing here, I look to my left and to my right, and I'm in a total line of 19 horses. Behind me is about, let's say, 50 cops in what we would call a turtle suit with their little blast shield. And ahead of me is a crowd of about, 300-400, and they're angry, and they've got their signs, and they're screaming and yelling. There's kids with skateboards with the plan of rolling the skateboards at the horses. Is that practical for me to teach you how to do that? It's not going to happen unless you're a cop, right? But how would you guys feel to be on a horse that you know can be confident in that situation? So that's what we're talking about. As we go through this stuff, let me relay it back to a normal, everyday thing. So Skylar, something that's unique about Skylar. As a full-time mounted police officer, he shows up at the barn at 9 a.m., and I'm just giving you rough estimate times. The horse is already fed. He goes straight to the round pen. He's in the round pen for about 30 minutes. He takes his horse out, washes him up, dries him, tacks him up. After that, you go put your uniform on, you come out, and he may do some arena work. After the arena work, he goes into the trailer, out to the streets. Sometimes he'll walk out to the streets as opposed to the trailer. Then he hits the streets, and he does about 5 or 6 hours on the streets. After that, he says, okay, time to get back in the trailer. That's a horse in the trailer. Back to the Sac PD barn, takes the tack off, and whatever issue he just had in the day, he takes it back into the arena and or the round pen and works on that, washes them off, puts them up. And guess what? 5 days a week he does that. So think about that. What we're going to pitch at you right now is positive, consistent work. I've seen it from both ends. When I was using those horses that I rented, the horses that I leased, everything that I was missing and the frustration that I think I had came from the, a lot of times, negative work, instruction of, you're doing bad, horse, kick, get over here, I told you to do this. I lacked the consistency. I wasn't doing the 5 days a week. Now, does consistency have to be 5 days a week? Absolutely not. If you're a Monday through Friday person, consistency can simply be Saturday and Sunday and maybe Wednesday nights. But that consistency. And when I say work, I lack the work. In other words, how many of us have our horses from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and that whole time, that's solid work. So that's what we're going to pitch at you as we're working towards this crowd control. Positive, consistent work. So Skylar, in your round pinning, when you're up, what and why are you doing it?
I'm doing it to maintain leadership over him.
Maintain leadership over him.
A partnership, but he has to realize that I'm not going to put him in an unsafe situation, so he has to feel trust in me.
So you're a partner, you're saying, I'm going to relay so they can hear a little bit better. But you're establishing a partnership, you're also showing him who's boss, right?
And I try and get him thinking.
Get him thinking, okay.
So he's not worried so much about things going on. And every day, it just depends. Some days I work him out for 5 minutes, other days it takes longer.
Also, some days you're working